What I don't like about Snapchat is that when someone sends you nudes, if they don't set it on like repeat or loop, you can only see them once. And then you don't want to be that creeper that takes a screenshot because then they could see that you took a screenshot.
Or you get like on Snapchat, you get like one reopen a day, and you don't want them to know that you spent your one reopen on them.
Dude, I reopen shit all the time. I don't care. I don't care. I'm a creeper. If my friends don't know by now that I'm a creeper, then we're not really friends.
That's true. You've been creeping me out for almost a decade.
No, not creeping you out, you rube. Creeping.
Yeah. I'm creeped out right now.
You're always creeped out. Jake, you're creeped out by a fucking butterfly.
All right, let's start the show.
5, 6, 7, 8.
What is up, boyos? This is Jake from the Jake and Cory podcast. I'm Jake. That's Cory. What's up, Cory? I botched it.
You screwed it up.
It's fine. I'm not even going to redo it. Let's just keep going.
Hey, we're just looking for the illusion of greatness.
Hey, there's no illusion over here. We are great.
We are great. We are great. We are great, 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 great. Great, 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 great. We are great.
Beautiful. That's our new intro music, actually.
No, I'm on a little bit of a high, so you're going to have to excuse me. A little bit of a high.
Yeah, what'd you take?
I didn't take any. Well, what I took was the AC Fox Sports Arizona broadcast of the Phoenix Suns game, and I am elated at the fact that our boys, my boys, are 5-0 in the NBA bubble. Down in Florida. And I'm sorry, but that's the longest winning streak we've had, and I believe the last 6 seasons. And we're gonna take that.
Isn't it weird that this is gonna be the year that we take it?
That's what I said. I said that exact same thing to my executive producer Daniel Taylor. I told him as we had a shirtless FaceTime celebration after that Devin Booker winning jumper. I told him, I says, how fucked up would it be if this is the year that the Suns go all the way and COVID won't let us celebrate it? No parade, no large gatherings, no nothing. All we're going to be able to do is just jump around in our homes, and that's it.
I don't even know like what the ratings are right now. I'm sure they're low.
No. Everybody's loving the fact that the NBA has figured out how to navigate this bubble. The NBA has successfully done it. Now, I've heard word that the MLB has had teams that have contracted the coronavirus. The NFL has canceled their portions of their season. So all these other sports franchises and leagues are trying to figure out how to do it. The NBA and the mouse has figured it out, and they're being successful. Yeah,
I guess like the NBA is like they have every team and everyone just kind of living in like a compound, right?
Yeah,
and
they're
the only people they can interact with is each other.
Yeah, they're literally David Koreshing themselves down in Florida, and they figured it out. And it is literally the world's biggest babysitting job, I would imagine, because you just got a whole lot of young millionaires that can't do anything. But if they decide to go and do something like leave the bubble, then there's protocols for them when they return. Like they have to quarantine. I think everybody's getting COVID tested every day. It's a tight ship.
I don't know if this is fair to say, but it seems like, basketball players take it much more seriously than football players. It seems like the football guys are the ones that like are huge party animals. Remember like that guy, Johnny Football, he was supposed to be like the next big quarterback, and they like kicked him out because he just partied too hard. And then like Gronk is known for like being a partier. I feel like the NBA guys are like, the season started, we're in the zone. Like, we got to stay in the zone, and this is the zone that we're in the whole time.
I don't
know what that's
I
all
don't know
about.
much about football. Hell, I don't even know much about NBA other than the fact that I get excited when they win and I'm sad when they lose. I'm a homer. I'm a Phoenix Suns fan. I was born and raised here in the Valley of the Sun. I bleed the purple and orange. That's just who I am. I will always be a Suns fan. I was born one. I will die one, no matter what. So as far as the NFL, I don't know if does the NFL have younger players in it like the NBA does?
I don't know. I wonder if like maybe the workout regimen is just much more extreme for basketball.
There's also
'Cause it's much more
500 dudes on an NFL team versus what? 18 on a basketball team?
That's true.
You know?
That's true.
But they figured it out. The NBA has figured it out.
I'd also say like basketball is like much more cardio intensive than football, where football is more strength.
Yeah.
And depending on which, position you're playing, but a majority of the positions in football is just like you got to push a guy forward.
When you think about, now, there are a lot of people that may or may not know this, but I contract with the Phoenix Suns, and I have the esteemed honor of being a camera operator for the Phoenix Suns down at Talking Stick Resort Arena. There are hundreds of people that have to come together to pull off an NBA game. If not hundreds, thousands of people when you consider the stuff that has to happen in the arena. But just the basketball team operations alone, minimum hundreds of people. When it comes to football, I've not been to a football game, but I've seen football on TV, and I've talked to guys that are camera operators for the Arizona Cardinals, and it's thousands of people that are just responsible for the operation of the team. So I think the reason why the NFL and the NBA may be struggling with finding a way to be able to play safely is because of the sheer numbers.
You mean MLB?
No, I'm talking about the NFL. The NFL.
You said NFL and NBA.
Yeah, the NFL not being able to find a perfect way to control the coronavirus when the NBA has, and I think it's because the NBA has a lesser number of people that are required to be there for a team to operate, and the NFL team has a hell of a lot more people there in order for that team to operate. And we're not even talking about arena operations. We're talking about just the team itself. So that may be the big threat.
NFL was like, NBA, they're doing the whole bubble thing down in Florida. NFL was like, fuck it, we're just going to do it by the numbers, just no audience. It's just same old.
Dude, they can't do that. The NBA is literally controlling every aspect of these kids' lives.
Yeah, they have to. That's how wrestling, which is fake, but it's a sport. They've been going the whole time. They haven't stopped. And the reason is because, for one, they're in Florida, and Florida's been really lax. And also, they have a compound down there, and just everyone's living down in Florida, and they go to the ring, they do their stuff, and then they go home, and they don't do anything else.
And there's strict protocols. The NBA's protocols, the NBA has been very clear about what their protocols are.
Another really successful example is the NHL. They're doing really well as well.
Okay, the National Hockey League. Not a hockey fan, but that's good.
They're up in Canada just hanging out.
I want them to be able to do this, because watching these sports come back and be able to navigate this successfully, and the fact that the NBA has been operated in this bubble for about a month now, and there has not been a penetration of the bubble, I think gives us hope for the fact that there is definitely a way to control this thing. And when people and what's the number one way that the NBA is showing that they can control this is by controlling the people and the people adhering to the control mechanisms that are set in place, not to necessarily control them in a negative sense, but to control the one thing that's trying to kill them, which is the coronavirus.
Well, what they're doing is fast testing, because I'm sure they have the quick tests.
Yep.
And quarantining. They get tested, they do their thing, and then they go home and they quarantine, which is what we should have been doing from the beginning.
Yeah, and even though they're going through all of that, players that aren't playing are still sitting on the sidelines wearing masks. The coaching staff and players that aren't currently on the court are social distanced by 6 feet. All of the crew members and the scorekeepers are behind, plexiglass shields with masks on. The protocols are there, and I'm sure that everybody in that NBA bubble is not celebrating every protocol, but they're following every protocol because though it may be uncomfortable, it's actually benefiting them and allowing them to get back to some level of normalcy of playing basketball. And if the rest of the world could see that when there is control mechanisms put in place, though uncomfortable, they are beneficial for the long run. And that's the reason why we haven't had NBA players sashaying off this planet from the coronavirus.
Yeah. It's funny, man. It's the same people that are like, I would die for this country, are also the same ones that are like, I'm not wearing a mask. You can't make me wear a mask. That's not what I stand for. And it's like, I thought you would die for this country. How about you wear a mask for this country, you dipshit?
It's the big thing about the fact that it's doing something for somebody else, because the mask isn't for you. The mask is for someone else. And we are exactly. A selfish bitch-ass society. A small portion of us are selfish bitch-ass people. But that...
And all it takes is a small portion.
Yeah, so. All it takes is a small portion for this to ramp itself right back up. But I mean, I'm proud of the NBA. I know it's weird. I know that I have a lot of friends that work for the NBA that are full-time, that work for Talking Stick Resort full-time. And when there's nothing going on in that arena, they aren't making money. And I know that hurts for them right now. So a part of my heart hurts for my friends, but another part of my heart is celebrating the fact that the NBA is successfully navigating this thing and allowing some level of normalcy to come back.
It'd be cool if the NBA was like, we're putting a majority of our profits into paying the staff of all these different people that normally work for us.
Well, when the coronavirus first hit and the NBA made the decision to cease basketball operations, I know for a fact that the Cleveland Cavaliers, the LA Lakers, the Phoenix Suns, a lot of NBA teams, the players got together and compiled their money together to take care of to pay the people that work in the arenas their salaries for those games that they would have gotten paid if coronavirus would not have hit. So that's from the players. Now, I mean, that's great. I don't know if the NBA did anything, but the players definitely said, we can't let the people that serve us suffer. So they got together and I know LeBron James, and I'm not a LeBron James fan, but I know for a fact that he came out of his pocket millions of dollars to help the people and the crews that normally work down in the Staples Center.
Yeah, it'd be cool if the NBA just in general was like, hey, any profit that we make from this, like any overhead, it's going straight back to our employees, because that's how much we care. I mean, it'd be a good PR move for them. And I don't think, because I think the bottom line, they're a business, so they don't care. But like, I still think it's a good look.
I don't think they're making money. I honestly don't think they're making money right now.
They're making something,
because going down into the technology and stuff that they've had to build from scratch down there in Florida, they made a healthy investment up front. They're making a huge, healthy investment up front, because that world of sports complex that the boys are playing on, that wasn't necessarily built to do what it's doing right now. So a lot of that had to be invested in, but I think it's going to pay off in the long run.
But if it's true and like the numbers are up, I mean, they're making some money.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I think it's,
and everyone's located in one area. I mean, hell, and if the players want to be like, hey, we just want to play, you could take our half of our income, and they can make that sacrifice if they want as well, just to keep everyone who normally works, like concession stands and the camera operators, just to get all these people, you know, the money that they'd normally have. The people who probably need it a lot more than, like, I don't know, Mark Cuban. He owns an NBA team, right?
Yeah, that's my buddy, though.
Yeah, that dude doesn't need any more money, though. You know, like he could be like, I'll take a year off, you know, of making money, and I'll be fine.
But okay, so the NBA bubble is great, but you have a lot of these young kids, 18, 19, 20-year-olds that are in the NBA that are now basically quarantined, and every aspect of their life is orchestrated. They're fed, they're given food, they're given entertainment. I mean, the wild world of sports complex it's pretty large. You know, they have lots of free range around in certain parts of that complex. But you have a lot of these young guys that are doing nothing but eating, sleeping, pooping, dribbling. Eating, sleeping, pooping, dribbling. How much of this visual cue do you think is happening
here? I'll
in that bubble?
I'll give it an audio cue.
I mean, you've got young kids, you got young cats that are away from their girls and away from their families. And
I wonder if they could opt into bringing their ladies there.
I don't think they can.
To like quarantine with them.
Okay, so
I don't know why they couldn't.
Okay, so I saw Aisha Curry on her Instagram post up some pictures that kind of look like the background was Florida. Okay, Aisha and Stephen are married. Every NBA player is not married. There are still some players out there that are still playing. You know, so those guys that are playing that ain't really tied down, that doesn't have a wife that could come in and take a COVID test and then, you know, spend some time with them. Those guys that don't have that.
Hey man, maybe they're doing that. Maybe they're bringing in some people and getting them tested. And
are you saying that they're bringing in some extracurricular side action for these guys to work off some frustrations?
Just creating more jobs, you know what I mean?
I saw right through that, you dirty birdie. I'm thinking about that. You cannot have 18, 19, and 20-year-old millionaires, single millionaires that are normally used to being around beautiful women.
I mean, hey man, we all have to do that though right now, you know?
That's true. I mean,
sure, I'm not 18, 19, 20, but like I've been staying in my room.
I know. So if it's frustrating for you and I, you can only imagine what these virile millionaire youngsters are having to do. I mean, I would be amazed to see their cell phone Safari capture.
You should see mine, dude.
I mean, good Lord, I'm sure that they are giving AT&T and Verizon a run for their money down there. I mean, it's just, I'm not making fun of it. It's just pure logic, bro. There's no way you can get past that that's happening down there. Or there's a lot of, or those balls that they normally play with are going to go from orange to blue. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's the thing, though. Is like they are 18, 19, 20.
Yes, and
they can figure it out. You know,
they're not sneaking anybody into that bubble, dude. It's too risky.
They're not like that. I mean, like when you're 18, 19, 20, you're not just a professional basketball player. You're a professional masturbator as well.
Now you don't think there's any skiing going on in there, do you?
Hey man, nothing against that either. I think the world's a lot more open these days. You know, if Steph Curry needs to hook up with LeBron James, that's cool with me, man.
No, not Steph and LeBron. Oh, his hairline. No.
And the benefit of that is they can wear a mask while they do it.
Oh, we're going to get into so much trouble. Oh, that's
Yeah,
so.
whatever.
Oh God, that's fun. I think about that, and that just may be because
Yeah, you would.
I'm weird as hell. But you just the sheer logic of it, man. Just the odds are, and I mean nobody's ever gonna say anything about it. Maybe in 5 years someone will write a tell-all book titled.
Oh, I'm sure they'll talk about the compound. Someone will write about the compound for sure. But I think the thing is like these kids are making millions of dollars. And they're like, hey, listen, if you leave, you're off the team and those millions are gone, friend. So, like, it's like, do I get sex or do I get the millions? It's like, I'd probably choose the millions.
And there was one player that was in the news that he left the compound to attend a funeral. But then after the funeral was over, he was photographed in a strip joint. And when he got back to the NBA bubble, they made him quarantine for 10 days, and every 4 days he had to get COVID tested. But those 10 days, that could easily be 5 or 6 games that he's going to miss out on playing.
Oh, easy.
And it could it could really hurt your team. So again, this is a prime picture perfect example.
I don't know how basketball works. Is there bye weeks in basketball?
No, not in this situation right now. The Phoenix Suns are playing damn near every other day or every 2 days. Right now because
they're like really pumping it out.
They're pushing. I mean, dude, they have nothing else to do right now. I mean, they're not rushing out to film Nike commercials. They're not doing,
They don't have to travel
They don't. Yeah, there's no travel time. The only travel time that they have is from their hotel room to the court. Which is an easy bus hop ride over. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of basketball that is going on, but I'm excited because it gives me a little bit of hope that that this thing is controllable. And it's also a beautiful example on how when there are proper control mechanisms put in place and those control mechanisms are obeyed and followed, success can happen.
But like, we didn't need the NBA to show us that.
There's
didn't. Plenty of other examples. There's, Germany, Denmark, New Zealand, Australia, Spain. Like, all these places were hit hard and they took care of it almost down to like nothing.
And I don't understand why, if you look.
And Spain's getting a second wave right now, and Trump loves to bring that up.
Of course he does.
But they've quickly gone back into quarantine and no one's questioned it. Nope. They're just like, it's coming back. Let's go back in. And that's it.
There was there were 2 other countries that I saw pop up on Twitter that were trending that are having a really, really bad time with this. And I
know Indonesia
and the Philippines. They can't seem to get a handle on it at all. And in Southeast Asia, 2 great nations, millions are at risk of falling back into poverty because of this. Yeah. And they just can't get it together. And they're pointing to the fact that they had a broken healthcare system, a poor infrastructure, an underdeveloped healthcare system, and tightly packed metro regions are what they're pointing to the fact that these 2 nations can't get this thing under control. And that's sad. That breaks my heart because even Arizona right now is starting to see a little small glimpse of an improvement.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's one of those things. Now, I don't know enough about these countries to make any.
I don't either. I'm just reading right off of Bloomberg Opinion, Twitter.
But I know, if you look at Trump, the thing with Trump is, him admitting that there's an issue, especially at this point, makes him look bad or compassionate, and he doesn't want either of those things.
No.
So
I think he's purposely doing things to piss people off at this point.
But
I think that's strategic.
He's a fascist. That's what they do.
I think that's strategic for him.
Yeah, Absolutely.
I think it's strategic for him. It's a little too late. You know what I mean? It's a little too late.
Well, they say all press is good press, but I don't necessarily think that's true. I don't know if you did you see the interview that he had?
Of course not.
No?
No.
He had an interview with it's a Australian network called Axiom, and they aired it on HBO. And Trump comes out with these like paper graphs, just like he went to like a printer and just like printed out these graphs, and he's like, "No, see, we're the lowest in the world." And the guy's like, "Well, yeah, we're the lowest in comparison to confirmed cases, but we are highest in death rate." And Trump's like, "That's not fair. How can you bring that's not fair?" And Trump just like came off as a complete idiot, where even Trump supporters are like, I don't know how to defend him. He just looks like a complete bozo.
I don't think there's any way that anybody can defend this. Dude, I've disconnected. I've dabbled in a little bit as far as like the news.
For sure. You should watch that interview just for the laughs, because it's honestly hilarious.
It turns my stomach to hear some of the
I know,
things
me
he
too,
says.
but it's so worth the watch just to be like, holy shit.
You know what? A listener of my show pointed out to me on Twitter, and it almost pissed me off, but then I had to take a second look, and they brought up the fact that before the Republican nomination was given to Trump in 2016, I want to say later part of 2015, when we all thought him running for president was a joke, one of my listeners reminded me that there was a time that I was a Trump supporter.
Was it like legitimate, or was it more of a...
And I went back and I listened to the episode that they mentioned, because you know when people call you out on stuff, Jake, they love to give you episode numbers, time and time stamps and shit, you know? So I went back and I listened to the episode, and I was a little bit of a Trump supporter, because I was resting on the fact that Hillary Clinton was a professional politician, and the U.S. has been run into the ground by politicians. So maybe someone not being a politician and being a somewhat successful, reputable businessman is just what America needs.
Yeah, but it's not this guy.
I couldn't have been more wrong in my life, but I will admit it, that there was a time that I said, maybe Trump's the guy.
Well, and I think there was a time in, 2015, 2016, where everyone was kind of like, well, Trump sucks and dude's an idiot, can't speak worth shit, just likes to rile people up, but he'll really shake things up and maybe expose some things. And it's like, well, I guess he did expose some things, but like, I don't know. It's like...
There's a difference between exposing and imploding. And I think he imploded more things than he exposed.
Yeah. I mean, he exposed how flimsy our government potentially is.
Yeah, extremely flimsy. As flimsy as my e-cig battery just died.
Yeah, it's just like Trump's not that guy, because first of all, Trump isn't even really that successful when you really break down his accomplishments.
Not over what we've learned over the last 4 years. There's clearly...
But like, people were saying that before.
Yeah, and I was caught up in the hype, man. I was at one point drinking the Trump juice.
And like before he was elected, people were, that video came out about him grabbing pussies, and like all that shit came out, and like a whole list of women came out who said that he assaulted them. It was exposed from the beginning. I'm not giving you shit right now.
I know.
Like, don't worry about it. I mean, everyone...
No, I own it. I own the fact that there was a time that I thought that dude was the dude. I think I may have even said, what's the worst thing he could do? You know?
Well, we didn't know that there would be a pandemic, you know, in all fairness.
Well, we also didn't know that he would divide the country and I mean, he did you used the word stir some things up. He did stir something up. He stirred up the bottom of the barrel. The people of America the
racists have come out in full force,
that are hateful and mean. Yeah, he brought them some bitches right to the surface.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You know, well, first of all, here's the thing. Just to go back for a second, like as far as you supporting Trump, I don't buy that you fully supported Trump. I feel like you maybe said some offhanded things on an episode of your show. And we all do that. I've said things we've only done 26 of these episodes, and I'm sure there's some things that I've said that I'm like, I don't fully back that. You know, we're talking off the top of our head, whatever.
Right.
But then also, I think it's totally okay for someone to be like, I supported him and I was wrong. I think that's just as valid and totally okay.
When I said what I said, it was very early where this was around the time that he was touting the fact that he didn't even know if he was Republican or not. That's how early in his run, where we all thought that when it came down to the brass tacks, he was going to bounce. You know, everybody thought it was a joke, you know, that he was doing it. You know what I mean? Because he had made idle threats to run for president before in years prior. So it was that's how early in his run that I said what I said. And I own it. I own it. But damn, I was wrong.
I also think like the pendulum needs to swing so it can swing back. You know what I mean? Like, I think the fact that it swung so far, you know, with the Black Lives Matter movement, like all this stuff is happening now because that pendulum swung, whatever. Because
I'm happy with either way.
Swang like 3 times.
I'm happy with any way that you say it.
Because the pendulum swung so far to the right.
Yeah. Too far.
Yeah, well, it swung so far to the right, but now we have a whole group of people being like, that's wrong, that's not okay, and it's really, you know, shined a light on to some issues that need to be resolved.
And I mean, it's almost like the worst possible things that none of us could have ever predicted has happened during the administration of the worst possible president. People are touting Trump as worse than Nixon.
I think so, yeah.
You know, so you got a
Nixon sucked though, just to make that clear.
Right. You got a pandemic, you got racism.
Mm-hmm.
2 of the biggest hot topic things. You know what I mean? And what did we deal with in the previous administration? Gun rights and same-sex marriages. Was that 2 of the biggest things that we dealt with during the Obama administration? Oh, and healthcare.
Yeah.
And healthcare.
Which is still a thing.
Which also, I came across something on Twitter. I didn't take a deep dive into it, that now Trump is trying to present something, a healthcare package that's very similar to what the Affordable Care Package already has. But I didn't take a deep dive.
I read it. He basically wants to undo Obamacare so he can implement Obamacare.
Nah, dude, did you read the tweet? Because that's literally what the tweet said. He wants to undo Obamacare so he can redo Obamacare.
So it won't be referred to as Obamacare anymore.
It's not even
Obama's black.
It's not even considered. It's not even officially called Obamacare. It's the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah,
we just gave it.
But everyone refers to it as
Everybody refers to it as Obamacare. Even medical professionals refer to it as Obamacare.
God, yeah, because Obama got it through, man, and Obama wanted to be much more progressive about it too, but that was just the, what they could agree upon for, making the Republicans happy. So, I mean, you can't fully blame Obama if you think Obamacare is bad, because he wanted something different, and that's just what they had to agree on.
Yeah, so we dealt with some big things during the previous administration, but I think because...
Well, we were also in a war.
Yeah, we did have a war going on at the time.
We're still in that war.
And we're still in that war, but it seems like, I don't know why, this particular administration just seems to exasperate normal political issues. Now, I won't give Black Lives the racism as a political issue, because that's been something that's been going on for 400 years. The pandemic, we had a pandemic under Obama.
Yeah.
And
he handled it.
And that was where the Pandemic Enforcement Committee, or whatever their official title is, came into play. And some people point to the fact that that was one of the divisions that were dismantled under the current administration. But we had a pandemic during the Obama administration. But I don't see, other than the guy at the top, how we dealt with some of these similar issues during the Obama administration that we're dealing with now in the current administration. But it just seems like it's so more fucked up now.
Well, I think a big part of it is, and I think people really take for granted how important it is that our president is able to stay calm under pressure, tell a good speech, keep the nation at ease. I mean, I watched a video today of Obama, and it was really fun and cute.
Yeah.
So, like, what happened is he's standing at the podium giving a speech.
Yeah.
And on the front of his podium, that there's that giant plaque that says, President of the United States. That plaque fell off of the podium.
Yeah. I think I've seen that.
And the dude just laughed it off, and the whole audience was just laughing with him. He's like, "Isn't that funny? That's so dumb that happened. I can't believe it. Ha ha ha." If that happened to Trump, Trump would be like, "That plaque is a problem. Whoever designed this podium should be fired. They should be sent to Guantanamo." Trump would be freaking out about it. I mean, there was that whole thing when he was running for president, where there was a lighting issue, and he was like, "That lighting person should be fired," and the whole audience was like, "Yeah, fire him, fuck that guy."
My God.
And you go to a Trump rally, and someone's there with a sign that's like, "I hate Trump," and they're kicking that guy's ass and beating him up. If you went to an Obama rally back in the day, someone's there is like, I hate Obama, I like Trump, or I like not Trump, I like McCain. Everyone there would be like, "Oh, that's okay. I'm glad you're here listening."
Yeah, they would have been like, "Hey, you are expressing your right to protest." And
yeah, as long as you're listening, that's fine.
Yeah, and nobody's...
And that's just not the case with Trump.
Yeah, it just seems like these issues aren't different for the time. They just seem to be more exasperated.
But Trump is also actively taking steps to reverse some of the things that happened during the Obama administration. One of the big ones is the fact that, he basically outright banned trans people from being in the military, where Obama took active steps to undo Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
He took active steps to get rid of that.
He wanted the trans out of the military because he knew that trans would have been more emotional and not wanting to attack their own American family and friends.
Yeah, because that's totally proven under science.
Oy.
Yeah. And he just says things that are just if you read between the lines, it's I know what you're trying to say.
He incites it for the
without actively saying exactly what he's saying, but it's we know what you're saying.
And I'm not saying that, I can't speak for Jake, but I'm not saying that the previous administration, the Obama administration, was perfect. I'm not saying that the Obama administration was perfect. I don't even think I don't believe I even voted for Obama when he was elected. When I think back on it, because there was a time where I saw a little bit more of where McCain was coming from than I saw from where Obama was coming from. And
I was too young to vote for McCain.
I told you, you're such a little smooth baby.
My first election was Mitt Romney versus Obama, so that was my first one.
But I remember, and I remember taking a lot of flack for that, because especially from other African American friends of mine, they were pissed off about the fact that I wasn't a staunch Obama supporter because I happen to be African American. And that in itself was a big turnoff for me. And I thought that was bullshit. If you vote just because of your race, I think that's as stupid as not voting.
Yeah, and I think especially back then, and there's arguments to be made about like who's the better candidate. And
of course.
That's not even what I'm saying. It's just either way back then, we would have been all right. It's just Trump is a totally different beast, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, he's actively hurting this country, where I think, both Obama or Mitt Romney or Obama and McCain, no matter who would have gotten elected, they would have gotten the job done as they saw fit. Whereas, like, Trump is, I don't even know what he's doing. He's actively, like, trying to change our government and trying to, I don't know, turn us into a fascist state. It almost seems.
I don't know what the end results can be. Where he just seems to be. I mean, I just don't get it. I can't wrap my head around it. I can't. No matter which way I try to think about it. And I'm the type of person sometimes, Jake, where I like to look at the best in people. Try to find try to make the most optimistic, take the most optimistic viewpoint with anything. I just can't with this dude. I can't with anybody that's around him. And I hate the fact that there are my fellow American neighbors that are so Trump, that anyone that's not Trump is automatically put in a category of them being their enemy. And why can't we just be agreeable? Why can't we just be disagreeing friends? I don't know. I don't understand when this type of society came around. Where did that come from? Where did it come from where if you don't support Trump, your mother should have aborted you? Where did that come from, dude? I don't remember any other elections where it has been that egregious between people that are far to the left or far to the right. I've never seen such egregious direct attacks amongst people that used to be friends that have now been separated by politics. I've never seen that.
To be completely fair, I think that's happening on both ends. And it's not people who are like, if you're against Biden, you're not with me. It's if you're for Trump, I don't like you. And I think because I'd say 95% of people who are going to vote for Biden in this upcoming election don't even fully like Biden. It's just like he's the best option. Very clearly the best option.
Yeah. Well, I don't think clearly he's the best option, but he's the only option we have.
Which makes him the best option.
Yeah.
Out of the two, I'd say he's easily the best option. And I think the reason behind that is for, the things we were stating earlier. The fact that, Trump is actively taking steps against human rights, like the whole trans thing with the military. His vice president is actively against gay marriage and if given the opportunity would reverse legalizing gay marriage. Without a doubt he would. Just these facts alone are enough. And then the fact that, Trump implemented ICE, which is, putting kids
we got kids in cages. They're still in cages right now.
Yeah.
They're still in cages, dude. I mean,
like
Nixon,
send them to a hotel at least.
Nixon didn't. The hotels are empty. They could use a business right now. Nixon didn't put kids in cages.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nixon, I don't know if Nixon had any racist issues that were surrounding I don't know if they ever touted him as a racist.
Well, he was.
Well, I
probably.
I don't know. I don't know that for sure, so I can't speak
he implemented
to it.
the war on drugs, which I could argue is maybe the most racist piece of legislation ever put into into
I've heard
paper.
that. I've heard that too. But I mean,
and Reagan did the same thing. So,
but he didn't but neither one of them didn't separate kids from their parents and put them in cages.
Well, I mean, there's an argument to be made that the war on drugs did that. But
oh yeah, well, you know what? We're just fucked up, and Biden's gonna fuck us up too. I've said it forever, Jake. We need to bulldoze Washington D.C., turn it into a parking lot, and start this government all over in Maine, up there in Stephen King country.
Here's the thing: is like no matter what we do, it's never going to be perfect because we're humans, and humans are imperfect. Life is imperfect. The goal, though, is to try and find the most perfect solution.
Yeah, a medium middle ground place.
Right. And what Trump is doing isn't that. I'd say at the very least, Biden, mainly because his brain doesn't work properly, is probably open to listening to other people and taking suggestions. And, you know, honestly, Biden would probably be in there for one more term. Obviously, Trump would be too. But, you know, I think Trump would actively take steps to try and get himself a third term somehow.
Oh, that would be a mortal lock. That's a mortal lock.
Here's a kind of scary thought that's been coming into my mind lately. What if Trump isn't building that wall to keep people out of the country, but to keep people in?
I wouldn't put it past him.
You know?
I would not put it past him at this point.
You know, trying to keep us from becoming refugees.
Yeah.
You know, because who knows? Trump is just on that trajectory. And, you know, when people said that he's like Hitler towards the beginning, people said it as a joke. But, like, I don't think it is, man. People laughed at Hitler the same way they laugh at Trump.
And it wasn't until it was too late in Hitler's reign for them to realize that, oh shit, this ain't a joke.
Well, and the whole thing with Hitler was like, I mean, if you read up on it, as Trump,
and I don't,
as Trump said,
I have no plans on reading up on Hitler.
Well, you should because history is important. But
no, I'm gonna repeat it.
You're the next Hitler. You're gonna round up the white people, take them out.
Yeah. Oh no, I love white people. They're beautiful.
But like, you know, if you read up on Hitler, you find that they gave him a little piece of government just to like maybe appease the people, and like maybe if we give them this little bit, then maybe they'll shut the hell up.
Shut up and go away.
Right, and that's maybe how people were maybe thinking with Trump as well, and that doesn't seem to be the case. That dude's not shutting the hell up, and he's not going to shut the hell up. I swear to God, if he doesn't get elected, he's still not going to shut the hell up.
Dude, when he loses in November, Lord, may baby Jesus have mercy on us. He is going to. He's not going to go down without a fight. He's not going to go. It's literally going to be the equivalent of trying to put a baby to sleep that you just gave a lollipop to. They're hyped up on sugar. They're going to fight. They're going to kick. They're going to piss. They're going to shit the whole night and never go to bed. They're going to do everything in their power to make you as uncomfortable as possible. It's going to incite from the time that they announce the projected winner on CNN. And I wouldn't be surprised if the networks have two different projections. I wouldn't be surprised at that. Where you got the networks that lean to the left projected one way, and the networks that are leaning to the right projected another way, and then you got CNN who tries to go down the middle projecting either way, just because they don't want to make I wouldn't be surprised,
dude. Even Fox polls are projecting that Biden wins this.
The time between the elections being over and January 2nd, when he has to relinquish control, is going to be the most tumultuous time in our histories. You thought the pandemic is bad? Wait till this crying orange baby is told to go in the corner. And here's the thing. If he fucks us over too much, his arch nemesis, becomes president on January 2nd. Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House. So he can't push back too much, or the bitch that he hates so much will become acting president until the Supreme Court rules who will be president between Biden and Trump. So he can't push too hard after the elections. There's a lot of damage that little flat ass old woman can do in them few days of being acting president. But we are in for it. We are in for a ride when Big Baby is put to bed.
Dude, you got to watch that interview. There's one moment in the interview where the interview is like pushing back on him, and Trump goes, "Read the manuals." And the interviewer's like, "What?" He's like, "Read the books." And then the interviewer's like, "What books?" And Trump's like, he's like, doesn't even know. Like,
I'm gonna have to read
the books,
it.
Read the manuals.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
And then he's like, the interviewer's like, you can look at, South Korea and how they've handled it, and they've done an amazing job of reducing the numbers. And then Trump says, "Well, you don't know that." And the interviewer's like, "I do know that. Are you saying South Korea is lying?" And Trump's like, well, we're in good standing with South Korea, so I don't want to say anything, but you don't know that. And it's like, Trump, what are you doing? Why are you trying to start some shit with South Korea?
Well, he's already pissed off. What did I see earlier on Twitter, where there are two countries that are trying to interfere in the elections for Biden's sake, and there's one country trying to interfere in the elections for Trump's sake. So all the two countries that Trump is pissed off are now trying to interfere in our elections. And this was a warning that came from our national security director that was appointed by Trump.
Yeah, I mean, by interfere with the election, it just means they're going to try and spew some propaganda over here, which, whatever. It's fine. Propaganda happens. Like,
yeah, but there's a large segment of the Americans, dude, that are stupid, that will take that propaganda as the word of God. Well, and then take that word of God.
I hope they take the right propaganda
to the polls, dude. I have never been more about the fact that, okay, here it is. Intelligence report concludes that Russia, China, and Iran have clear preferences for who wins the 2020 U.S. election. According to CNN, take it for what it's worth, U.S. intelligence officials say that China and Iran both do not want President Trump to be reelected in November, while Russia is working against presidential candidate Joe Biden's campaign. High-ranking Democrats in Congress are questioning the report's evaluations of the three actors and the threat they pose to the 2020 elections.
Yeah, I mean, of course China doesn't want Trump. I mean, Trump, I think I just saw that, like, Trump is trying to, if not already, he's, like, signed an executive order to outright ban both TikTok and Tencent.
Yeah, because he wants the company sold off to an American company.
Yeah, which is totally bogus. And if he bans Tencent, dude, I don't know if you know what Tencent is.
I don't know what it is.
And hear me out, because I think Tencent is horrible. The fact that they're getting involved, they're just a horrible company.
Inform me.
But they own Epic Games, which is the owners of Fortnite.
Oh, I'm flossing.
So, like,
I'm flossing.
Yeah, the flossy guy, Ninja, all that stuff. So I don't think Trump even realizes that banning Tencent is gonna actively, like, basically close down both Fortnite and League of Legends, which I know we're getting into my gaming territory here, but I think
gaming is a billion-dollar industry.
Multi-billion
dollar industry, and Fortnite,
especially this year.
Fortnite is one of the biggest games of the century.
Yeah, the only other game I could think of that's like bigger than Fortnite is Grand Theft Auto.
Right.
Maybe Minecraft.
But you don't
But,
think that even though the other gaming, the other games outside of Fortnite and the other one that you mentioned, even though they're not directly affected by Tencent, you don't think that there's some contract work or some consultation work that these other games are seeking from Tencent that they've implemented or they've purchased or they've contracted with? So it may go further than just the 2 games that you've mentioned, bro.
No, it does, because basically, I mean, we're getting into the weeds of video games here for a sec, but like basically Epic Games, so on the computer, there's a launching service called Steam, which is like the biggest launching service. And then the second biggest launching service is the Epic Games Store.
Okay.
So, I mean, like that's actively like, I don't know how the deal would work with Tencent. I don't know how it would work, but like, so like, don't quote me on anything, but regardless, it just it's not, I don't like Tencent, and I think they should, disappear. But this is not the way to do it.
My question is, how does 50 Cent feel about it?
Where's Ja Rule in all this?
Yeah. Another one.
Yeah. Where's DJ Khaled?
Dude, I don't know, man. I'm still on the high, even though we've talked about Trump because of the Phoenix Suns and the NBA and the fact that we are seeing a little bit of glimpse about this. Anyone that is listening back to this, let me give you just a really quick message. I know it's uncomfortable, but please continue to do what you're doing. It's uncomfortable. We could have a short-term level of uncomfortability, or we can reject the confines and be living in a threat for the rest of our lives. And I don't know about you, but I don't want my eventual grandkids to have to put on a hazmat suit just to go play at the park up the street. Continue doing what we're doing, folks, so that we can get ourselves out of this and we can have ourselves a good Christmas. Because I'm telling you, after the November elections are over, you are definitely going to want to go to a bar and get shit-faced. So please control yourselves now so we can get the bars fully open. We can stop all of the social distancing, which I never will at all anyway, because I don't like getting close to anybody, especially when they're wearing clothes. But please continue to just do what you're doing so we can get the hell out of this thing. We can do it, and we're starting to see glimpses of the fact that we can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah. If we just did that from the very beginning, we wouldn't be where we are now.
We wouldn't. We would be where the other countries are. There would be at least 160,000 more people alive today if we would have just all buttoned down the hatches, listened to the little Ewok guy, also known as Fatchy. We would have listened to the little Ewok guy that has the degrees and the specialties in this. And I know doctors aren't always right, but that little shit had it right from the beginning.
I honestly feel like it's common sense.
You listen to your doctor.
Well, not even that. Just like, how do you prevent a disease from spreading? You quarantine. It's common sense.
Yeah.
If you're not interacting with anyone, you won't catch it.
And everything.
And if you don't catch it for long enough, the disease will go away.
And
I mean, like, it's common sense. Like, you don't even need Fauci to tell you that. It's just common sense. Like, just use your brain.
Yeah.
Why do we wear gloves when we're dealing with feces and blood? So we don't catch diseases. Wear a mask. It's common sense. Like,
condoms, they protect you from sexually transmitted diseases.
When the AIDS epidemic was happening, I mean, at first we didn't know how it was happening, but once we found out, we're like, hey, these little rubber things can help you. They can save your life.
Put them on your Schwanstucker before you go Captain Stabbing.
Yeah, it's just like, it's mind-boggling. Like, it's just so obvious.
It's the equivalent of basically you going to your doctor's office, you paying your copay. Your doctor says, hey, this is what you need to do in order to get better. And you walk out of your doctor's office and you say, you know what? It's my right not to do what my doctor just said. Come on.
Yeah.
We're cruising towards the fever of the coronavirus breaking over this country. Let's continue the momentum, folks. If the NBA can do it with those little young millionaires, we can do it too. We can. Come on, America. This is the time. This is the time.
And listen, I'm not naive to think, or to not know that a lot of people have lost their jobs. And that's why they want things to open, because they want their jobs back.
I understand that too. I've lost money too. I've lost jobs too.
But listen, you're going to not have a job longer the longer we pussyfoot around this.
Yeah.
So if we just take the time and vote for Biden in November.
Vote, people. Vote. Please, my God in heaven, vote.
But if you plan on voting for Trump, maybe think about not voting. I don't know.
You know what? So Jake, what you're saying that if you're planning on voting for Trump, then on November 3rd would be a good day to have a no mask rally.
Yeah.
So you can protest mask while you're not voting.
Oh, dude, one more thing about that Trump interview.
Yes.
That I found.
I'm going to have to watch it now. You got me sold. You got me sold.
I found this absolutely hilarious. I mean, Trump can't talk about anything without bringing himself into it. So the interviewer asked him, what do you think of John Lewis, who passed away?
Yeah, Republican Representative John Lewis.
And, he was very, important to, civil rights and all that stuff. And Trump said, well, I don't really know, anything about John Lewis. What I do know is he didn't come to my inauguration, so I don't know. It's like, Jesus. I don't know much about him, but, he didn't go to my inauguration.
Jesus,
so,
my God in heaven.
It's like, dude, Trump, are you kidding me, dude? The dude
God
died. Just even if you don't believe it, just be like, yeah, I hope, he rests well or whatever.
Empathy. When the cameras are on, use empathy, whether you knew him or not. Empathy. My God.
I mean, he did the same thing when McCain passed.
He was insulting when McCain passed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's kind of insulting.
That's insulting to John Lewis as well. But you know what? John Lewis's family and the people that were surrounding him, they take such the high road. They even reached out, and don't quote me on this, but I believe they even reached out to the Trump administration and invited them to his funeral service, and the request was denied. They said no. Trump said no. While Bush, who I know for a fact because I saw it happen, I'm old enough to know, Bush and Representative John Lewis had some dances. They had some dances when W was president, and said John Lewis never was a snarky type of person, but he gave Bush a lot of good trouble. And that was one of Representative John Lewis's phrases: get into some good trouble. But Bush never lost respect for him being a man, for what he has been through, for what he stood for. W never discredited that. And W stood up at that man's funeral. Knowing how when W was president, how those two hit heads and disagreed on many issues. W still stood up as a man of integrity. This is George W. Bush. Old W. Stood up as a man of integrity and spoke at Representative John Lewis's funeral. And the same thing with Clinton, and the same thing with Obama. Obama was standing up there, because I watched the whole thing. Obama was standing up there, and I don't know why. I don't know if maybe I was the only one, but I started having flashbacks to Martin Luther King. Jr. I started having MLK flashbacks, and maybe that was just because they were in MLK's church. But when Obama was speaking, it just seemed like that was a totally different Barack than we have ever seen before.
Obama has always been, hate him or not, he's always been an incredible speaker.
Oh, man. Charismatic as the day is long. If he became a preacher, I'd go to that church just to hear him preach.
And just, you could tell he's just intelligent as well.
Oh, yeah. His boo-boos are smart. When he flushes the toilet after he's done pinching a loaf, that's the smartest shit you'll ever see in your life.
I will never forgive his wife, though, because she took away my spicy fries in high school. So I'll never forgive her for that. So.
Apple slices for everyone. 5, 6, 7, 8.
She took away my pizza, dude. Because she implemented that like healthy
she
food
did that.
act.
And she put the took part of the rose garden at the White House and made it a vegetable bobo garden. Yeah. Don't worry about that because Melania has now made it a shoe closet.
That was my senior year of high school, and I will never forgive her for that.
You know what? I'm sure she is okay with you not forgiving her.
I'm obviously joking. Anyway,
I did my 5, 6, 7, 8 too early, didn't I?
No. Oh. You're good. Yeah, you did, but it's cool.
Damn it!
I was thinking next week. The past 2 weeks we've been very political, and I enjoy being political. If something crazy happens in the political sphere, we'll definitely talk about it. But I think it's about time that I do another one of my movie roundups.
Oh, yes. We have not had a movie roundup in some time. And I particularly enjoyed the movie roundup because it gave me something to watch. Snowpiercer was part of your last movie roundup, and I thoroughly enjoyed that movie.
We'll hear the 3 movies that Cory watched as well.
Yes.
Next week.
Yes, I think, I agree. 100%. Tune in next week, ladies and gentlemen, for Jake Wood's Movie Roundup.
Yeah, Movie Roundup 2020 Part 2.
Ooh, Part Deuce.
A
smart deuce. An Obama
so tune in
dookie.
for that next week. It's going to be a good ass time.
Yes.
Also, every Tuesday, check out the Loner Gamecast. The PlayStation State of Play happened last week. We're going to be talking about that tomorrow. It's going to be a good time. Check it out. It's definitely worth watching. I appreciate all the support we're getting on that show. And
do
awesome.
Not watch that show because of Nick Sapon. Do not watch it because of Nick. Don't.
Yeah. And don't watch it because of me either. I guess you just shouldn't watch it. Also, I'm going to give a shout out to the Fat Guy Radio Show over here. He's got a new series up called Fat and Furloughed that he premiered last week, all throughout the course of last week. I was a special guest on one of those. Definitely check at least that one out.
Yes. But titled Jake Woods - Fat and Furloughed.
But you definitely want to check out the other ones too. He basically just brought all of his friends on and just shot the shit with them for a while, and
that's literally
a lot of fun to watch.
It was a lot of fun, and thank you, Jake, for coming on and doing that. That was great. I know that we do a lot of radio, and for you to take the time out to do even more radio /TV.
We
definitely
appreciate to talk to you more. I'm into it.
Yes, I appreciate that. Had too many clothes on, but it was still a good time.
Well, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh yeah, subscribe too, and follow me on Twitter.
If you write this shit down, the closing would be a lot smoother.
No, it's more fun this way. Bye-bye.